On Tuesday, I talked about being prepared for medical emergencies on TravelNurse Tuesday.
Today, we're going to talk about general emergency preparedness in your RV. Hi, I'm Felix.
And I'm Cindy.
And we are
the
Roaming
Roaming
Gomes. One of the most important things you can have in your RV, and pretty much all of them come equipped with it, is a fire extinguisher. Now, it's important to be sure that it's charged, and you can see that on the window. And you should replace your fire extinguisher every 5 years. And if you need to use it, you need to use the acronym
PASS. P-A-S-S stands for pull. You pull the ring. Aim. You want to aim it at the base of the fire. Squeeze. And sweep. PASS. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
And it's important that you overcome the desire to spray into the fire. As Cindy said, you need to spray at the base of the fire, because that's where the fire really is.
The next item you need to have on hand is a first aid kit. You always want to have things available in case there's an injury, something that you can take care of at home, a scratch, a cut, and also to be able to hold pressure on a wound with something sterile if there's an actual large injury. This one also has a bite and sting kit for insect bites.
And as Cindy mentioned in her previous video, it's very good to have one handy no matter where you are. So in our case, we have 3 locations essentially. Our RV, our tow vehicle, my truck, and Cindy's follow car. All 3 of them should have a first aid kit in them. Now, something that is kind of the same in a sticks and bricks is having an emergency plan, having an exit plan, a way to get out if there's a fire. In RVs, and it's been the case in both RVs that we've owned, there's generally one emergency exit. And in both cases, that's been in the bedroom, and it's been one window specifically. And it's marked, as you can see, exit.
Make sure now, when you're not in an emergency, that you've looked at that window, the screen, the way you pop the screen out, and the way you push the window out to be able to get out. You don't want to wait until you need it and be fumbling with the screen.
I mean, quite honestly, and we try to stay open and honest here, Cindy had no idea how you were supposed to get the screen out if you needed to go out that window in an emergency. I showed her.
If there's a fire, my first instinct is going to be get out. These RVs are not made with the sturdiest of materials,
no,
to say the least, but they are very quick to catch fire and spread. If it's a small fire on your stove that you can grab the fire extinguisher and put it out, that's one thing. But if it's a fire of any size whatsoever, just get out, because these things can go up like a tinderbox, and it's better to get yourself, your animals out into safety than to try and put out a fire that could very easily engulf you in no time.
And speaking of the animals, it's probably a good idea to have their carry cases, cages, whatever it is you have, relatively handy. I mean, in our instance, we could just pick up both cats, one each, and pretty much just put Bucky on the ground outside. He's not going to go anyplace. And that would allow us to get the cats into maybe the back seat of my truck or into their carriers. But obviously, you're not going to want to wait until you get to the carrier to get the animal out of the RV. And I mean, there's something you need to consider also is if the RV itself is on fire, probably right underneath the floor where we're sitting is a propane line. So if that catches fire or starts to melt, you've got a whole new world of issues.
I guess the main thing we're getting at is think about it. Have a plan. Don't let something like that sneak up on you and then you're panicking because you can't figure out how to get yourself and your animals out. So if you have a plan that you've talked about with your traveling partner, then both of you can at least know this is what we're going to do if this should ever happen. Hopefully you never have to use it, but it's better to have a plan than need one and not have talked about it.
Now, another thing that you're going to want to do is, I'm not going to pretend that anybody's going to ignore the impulse to grab their important documents. I mean, you're going to have to if you have to go back in and get them, but have them all in one place and have them together. If you can have them digitally scanned, that's even better. Because even if your phone, your computer, and everything else gets burned up in the fire, you can still, when you get a new phone and a new computer, have access to them. Now, another thing that Cindy touched on in her video was that when you get to a campsite or a campground or an RV park or wherever it is you're going, get to know the address. Have it written down and have it up on your refrigerator or on one of your cabinets or someplace where it is blatant and in your face. We are nomads, all of us, and we're learning or having to know new addresses on a regular basis. Perfect example, when we came back here, we were here in 2020. When we came back here in 2022, neither one of us could have remembered the address.
No, we've had so many addresses between then and now.
I mean, between Tifton and South Carolina, all these different places we've been, and I'm sure many of you have had that same experience. You're going to a lot of different places. If you don't know the address of the place that you're in right then, you're going to hinder 911 response. Despite what you see on the TV and on these cop shows, it's not that easy to really trace your cell phone.
They can track our cell phone.
You're going to want to be able to give them a specific and precise location.
We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about weather events in this video, but it is a good idea to have in mind if there's a warning that a tornado or a severe thunderstorm or something that is more than just your regular storm, if you should need to get out of your RV to a safe place. Look around your RV park. The laundry room here is brick. That's probably where we would head. The office is cement blocks. So any place that we've been, there's always been a place that you could run to if you needed to, if a storm was coming that may damage your RV and perhaps injure you. So always just keep an eye on your surroundings, especially if you move often. Just one of those things to keep in mind when you drive in, as you're driving around. Where would we go if we needed to get somewhere safe into a building that's more sturdy than an RV?
And I mean, it's kind of very appropriate right now with the hurricanes that are going on down in Florida. I mean, people have had to find evacuation locations, and you need to know where they are for your RV park.
Some people even go so far as to have a go bag ready. Something that has a change of clothes for each person, maybe some snacks and water bottles, something that you can grab real easy, just keep it in the bottom of your closet or something and take it with you in case of an emergency that you need to get out of your trailer and you don't know where you're going to once the disaster is over with.
And that can be the location of your central location for your important documents too. You could have that in your go bag. And now we want to talk about something that helps you avoid these emergencies. CO2 and propane monitors. They are imperative, especially in an RV circumstance. We have both, and most RVs come equipped with both when you buy them new. Specifically, if you're buying a used RV, don't even question it. Don't think about it. Just go and replace the monitors. First thing, propane monitors in these things are highly replaceable. They're basically disposable. I mean, we've had this rig under 2 years, and we've already had to replace our propane monitor. We haven't replaced the CO2 monitor. We bought this thing new, so we shouldn't have to. But when you buy a used RV, just factor it into the cost. Buy new monitors. And really, they're not expensive. They're fairly cheap. And actually, you can find them in our Amazon store.
The reason we had to replace our propane monitor is it started going off for no reason. Absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
We couldn't find any leak. We didn't smell anything. There was nothing to indicate that there was a problem. So we replaced it with a new one, and it's never gone off since then.
Nope.
And it's registering that it's working. It just has never gone off to alarm us that the levels are high. So apparently that one just had a glitch in it or just stopped working.
Yeah, and the same thing happened in our previous rig. We had a propane monitor that just started going off. And I mean, I went around to every joint and every place I could think of with soapy water and checked. There were no leaks. So, and as soon as we replaced that propane monitor, no more alarms.
Of course, we hope that you never have to use any of these things. We hope that you never have an emergency that you have to be prepared for. But better to be prepared and never need it than to not give these things any thoughts, and then when the time comes, you don't know what to do. You haven't thought about it. It's just like anything else in life. Insurance. You buy insurance, you may never use it, but if you need it, you'll be glad it's there.
I know a lot of experts out there say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you have an emergency in your RV. Well, bottom line is that's not true. Some emergencies you can avoid, some you can't. But with some simple maintenance and keeping an eye on your systems in the RV, you'll be just fine. But being prepared, as Cindy pointed out, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Thanks for joining us again this week. I'm Cindy.
I'm Felix.
We're the Roaming Gomes, here to bring you
Less worry
and more wonder.